So in this video, I'm going to do an actual example of picking what to work on next by looking at the year screen and the grades the students have within the Summit platform using the demo. And we're going to be using the questions we discussed in the last video. Now, remember that projects are indeed more important, but we're going to go ahead and assume that all students are going to prioritize projects during class time and that they will make sure that SDL time is dedicated towards focus area work. It is going to be a rare exception that you want to have to do our projects during SDL, but you really want to avoid that. So for the examples in this video, I'm not going to be focusing on projects. I'm going to be focusing on content assessments. But if you are a student who's behind on a project, remember to do that. So remember the questions that I asked myself to decide which focus areas to work on next is, where is the present line and what's changing next? What is the most important thing to work on here? What would help my project the most, by the current project that I'm working on? What is the class that I need the most help with? What is the easiest or hardest thing that I can do? And am I on track? And how should I act depending on that? So let's go into that year screen and the demo platform. And here we have Ali, a student who is way ahead of the game in the platform. So if she asks those questions of herself, so I'm going to become Ali now and I'm going to ask those questions. So the line is hitting next things that are way on the past. So I'm not worried about that. However, the line has hit things that I haven't addressed, the additionals. And if I go look at my grades on the progress screen, I can see that I do have Bs in some of my classes. Now, I could raise those Bs by working on harder on projects and making sure my COG skills are as high as possible. My averages are pretty good, but they could be even higher. So in class time, I'm going to do that. But during SDL time, I could prioritize the additionals that I haven't passed in order to raise my grade. Yeah, I've been trying to finish all the power focus areas, but now I realize that that's not helping my grade. Now, I don't really care about grades. I care about learning. So I could just tackle the power focus areas, get it over with, and then get back to the additionals and raise my grade that way. But my mentor's been bugging me. My mom has been bugging me about my Bs. I really want to have A's right now, not just eventually. So I guess to raise my allowance, I guess I will pick up some additional to work on. Now, that is more important because the power focus areas, although they count more, I'm so ahead of them that I'm not going to have a problem with them right now. So additionals are more important right now. They have more power to change my grade. So when I think about the additionals, what would help my current projects the most? So first of all, the next additional that's going to roll over, it's going to be for social studies. And at that point, I'll be 4 additionals behind. So maybe I should do a social studies because I'm the most behind on that one. So that's this question here. What class needs the most help, right? So then within that, I'm going to think about what could help my project the most. So my current project, which I actually have yellow checkpoints for, and I'm going to make sure I do really well on, could be benefited by what medieval Europe is like. So if I pass that one, it might help you with the current content of my project. So maybe I will try to do that one. All right. So another option is to actually do something for a different subject that's also behind. Maybe say, for example, whatever I have the lowest grade, which is science. And in science, I could raise my grade by doing either, math, I actually have lower grade because of 83% average here. So I could even do more on rational numbers or more on expressions. But both of those are topics that I haven't even talked about yet. So trying to do that might not be the smartest thing. But I did pass probability and sampling with 8 out of 10. And there's one here right at the end of the year that's about the same thing. So maybe I'll try to pass that and then give my math grade a boost. So I would pick either this one or that one. Now, how do I decide which one is to do? I go which one is easiest. So then I actually just take the diagnostic for both of them. Whichever one is easiest, I will tackle that first. And I'm doing this because I am on track. So that's kind of how you think about it. So let's think about a student who's right around on pace. So Jalen is on pace. So the primary concern for Jalen is going to be, where is the line? What's going to roll over next? And what can I do about that? So putting on my Jalen hat. Oh, it looks like the line is about to pass over ecosystems in science. So if I don't do something about this, it's going to roll over and turn red. I hate those reds, so I don't want to get them. And so I need to do something in science. Now, this power focus area right here actually isn't related to the project that I'm currently doing. It's related to my previous project. And I haven't even started studying for it yet. I don't even need it anymore for that project because I already got a green for it. So you know what? What would help me with my current project? So I hover over my project, and it looks like either ecosystem relationships or structures and properties of matter would help. So then I go into each of them, take the diagnostic, and look at the key terms. And it turns out I feel more confident about ecosystems. And besides, there's two ecosystems. So if I pass this one, perhaps it will help you with the other one, which I also have to pass eventually. So you know what? I'm going to do ecosystems. And that's how you go through those questions. The student has to ask, what class needs help the most? So if I look at the fact that math has the lowest grade, perhaps that means I could afford to get a red in science where I have such a high Cox skill average. And in turn, boost my math grade instead by making sure that that doesn't roll over and turn red. So maybe I work in math first instead. So if I ask that question, maybe I change my mind about what I work on. So that's why you ask all the questions, right? But you saw me doing what is the line going to hit next? You saw me focusing on what's important, which is the PFAs. You saw me thinking about what my project is concerned. And you saw me thinking about what was easiest, which is the ecosystem relationships after I took the diagnostic. And I'm doing it this way because I am on track. Now, if I also think about what class needs the most, I might change my mind and do math, but it's okay whichever way I go. That's just how you would go about it. Now let's look at a student who is behind, struggling with a lot of their content and really having a difficult time trying to pass. Now, for these kind of students, remember the attitude is, what can I do right now to give me a confidence boost? What is an easy victory that I can get to myself? The easiest thing or the thing that I like the most, and I'm go for that. So putting on my Patricia hat, or actually Xenia hat, I love English. And so I will try English just because I know that even though I got a 4 out of 10 the first time I try this, it is the subject that I usually do the best on, and I need a victory right now. So I don't even care about the rest. I'm just going to try to pass that one. Now, I could still ask the other questions, but because I'm behind, that's kind of what I want to do. I do, however, have to eventually worry about the fact that I have to do 2 things on the easiest or things that I like the most for each one that I do and the ones that I don't. So eventually, if this is the third one that I'm picking, I might have to pick that subject that I don't like as much and have to face the fact that science is super behind about to roll over, and I have to face that monster. But right now, I'm going to go for the easiest one. I'm going to go to the English one. What about a student who is absolutely disheartened, super behind? Every project is red or yellow, every single power focus area behind, and basically at the point of giving up, right? So what a student like that can do. The first advice I give you is don't give up. It is never too late to make progress. And I've seen stories of students who finished the year, even though they were super behind. So what I would tell such a student is to not even go to the year screen. Don't even worry about it. Just think about work with your mentor and think about one thing that you can do over the next 30 minutes that actually can help you succeed. And then make with your mentor 1 or 2 concrete goals that you can do each day. Don't focus on the big picture. Don't be overwhelmed by all the red. Just work day at a time with your mentor and start setting goals with the help of your mentor 1 day at a time. Set goals every day with your mentor. I know you're supposed to have mentor meetings every 2 weeks, but in that circumstance, just check in with your mentor, even if it's by email. And then pick one thing to do that day. And as long as you do one thing every day, you will always continue to make progress. And that's the attitude to have. So here, I gave you some examples on how to deal with making and picking goals using those questions that we discussed in the previous video. I hope you found this helpful. On the next one, we're going to talk about turning these tasks into an actual SMART goal that launches the student-directed learning process.